Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 16 of season 4 of The Flash, Run Iris Run. And again, we got another really solid episode of the series. Very nice kind of way of working with Iris here, and I definitely did like what was going on with her this episode, especially with her seeing her try out being a speedster for a day, and I also liked her interactions with Ralph. Um, Now, Ralph is being kind of unfair in that in accusing of Iris of not putting herself on the line when she really has. She has multiple times in the past, and she's done it several times this season. And Ralph does seem to comes around by the end of the episode and realizes he was being a jerk. This is, I think, really just Ralph kind of lashing out because of his fear of DeVoe. I mean, his whole thing this episode is he absolutely refuses to leave Star Labs because he knows he's on DeVoe's hit list, and he has watched DeVoe kill one of the other bus metas right in front of him, one that he himself genuinely cared about. So yeah, Ralph has a pretty good right to be freaked out, but him, kind of turning that feeling of helplessness that he's doubtlessly feeling on Iris is, of course, not cool. And seeing Iris try out being speedster, that was certainly kind of pretty cool. Not really sure why they kind of forgot about the time that Barry pulled the trick with the ocean back in season 1, but okay, we'll just let that happen. I was just a little weirded out that Barry was like, hey, do you want to keep those powers? I mean, if you do, I'm not going to demand them back. And then Iris is like, nah, you should have them back. And of course, Barry is extremely relieved. Now, not that I don't think that Iris, with some training and experience, couldn't have been a good speedster. She clearly showed that she's got some potential there. But still, those were Barry's powers. And her ending up with them is something that they could have fixed. So it still doesn't. I don't understand. It does feel weird that her keeping them would have been just like, what? Those are not yours. Those belong to Barry. You just ended up with them by accident. Still, I give Barry points for just not saying like, okay, Iris, nice job, but I need you to give those back to me. He made doing so her choice, which is a nice sign of Barry's love and respect for her. He's like, look, I'm not going to force you to give that up because I know what it's like to be changed, to see the world as the more through the power of being a speedster. And I would not demand that you give that up, even for me. This is something that has to be your choice, and it's not stated that way, but you can easily understand that's where Barry's coming from. Even though this is a power that was given to Iris and taken from him, he's going to giving it back to him be her choice. He's not going to pressure her. It's 100% her choice that she does that. So that was very well done. I will compliment the writers on that. And I did like Iris's speedster outfit. As people have pointed out, it's obviously inspired by the character of XS. The letter X, the letter S is how she writes her name. From the Legion of Superheroes, who is Barry and Iris's granddaughter. XS is a character that I'm actually quite fond of. One of my favorite issues of the series Impulse, which starred their other grandson, Bart Allen, was the one where he and Jenny meet up and get to spend some time hanging out. And Bart is extremely happy because, like, hey, here's another teenage speedster from my era in history. Like, here's somebody who kind of gets me a little bit. And interestingly enough, I happened to be at Comic-Con one year, and I got Mark Waid to sign that particular issue. And I said to him, this is one of my favorite issues of Impulse that you wrote. And he said, actually, it is my favorite. So that particular issue is his favorite issue of the series that he wrote. So just a little bit of trivia for you. And, you know, I think he has every right to be proud of it. Those first 24, 25 issues of Impulse were really, really good stuff. And that issue kind of capped off, was issue 12, it capped off the first year of the series. And it ended on a, you know, surprisingly melancholy note for what was generally a pretty lighthearted series. Some very, very nice depth there. And that's also the series where I really got into the art of Humberto Ramos, a very talented artist whose work I continue to enjoy to this day, and who I also got to meet one time at Comic-Con. Oh God, Comic-Con is so the best! Oh, man. Let's see. What else? Nothing really huge to say about the villains this episode. The rock and roll pyromaniac guy was just a little too over the top for me. And again, it's just sort of like, wait a minute, really? There's not, like, especially the whole thing of like dragging that water from the ocean. There's really not another way you can figure out to deal with this guy. I mean, seriously, this guy was surrounded by cops. Why not just have somebody tear gas his ass? But again, this is for the same reason why, like, supervillains can rampage through Central City and never be shot by police snipers. It's not cool, it's not interesting if that's what happens. They need to be taken down by the Flash, because it's his show. And it's also nice to see Team Flash get a really solid win. You know, the bad metas are taken care of, and Melting Point seems perfectly willing to do his part to try and take down the Thinker. I have a feeling it's going to work out extraordinarily poorly for this fellow, but you know, points to the man for stepping up to the plate and trying to do what is the correct and righteous thing. Also, it's sort of interesting that he seems to, just from his talk, seem to imply that he's a religious person and that he very much believes that these powers are a divine gift. It's just kind of an interesting idea of people getting superpowers that you see sometimes, but it's usually played on people who have gone down a misguided or at times even evil path. It's very rare to see someone, at least in my opinion, who is a genuinely good person, and that is their view of what's happening. I mean, the only other hero that really leaps to my mind immediately that we're seeing that I can think of is like Black Lightning on the other show. I mean, like, he has repeatedly said that he believes he was given his powers by God for a reason. I mean, the religious element of that is very understated, but it's there and it's present, and it's an interesting point of view. Let's see. No, I think that covers everything I had to say about this episode, guys, so we're going to stop here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and join me on Tumblr as well at Jedi Reviewer. Until next time, take care and have a good one.